Hey, everybody, it is Tim Gillette, and this is another episode of the Tim Gillette Show. You know, this is a unique podcast because we get to know people. Yeah, I can't confuse my words on that anytime soon, but get to know people live on air. That's what the whole purpose of our show is finding out people, interviewing them, hearing their story, hearing about their business. Sometimes, you know what I mean, we go down journeys and seeing. Today, I don't know where we're going to go. I just met Natalie and literally have connected with her on Facebook. I don't think we've been Facebook friends 6 months, but we're going to find out about her today. All right. This girl I hear has got an interesting thing. She's doing stuff online just like we are. So why not interview her, find out who she is, find out who she hangs out with. Maybe we'll even find out, you know what I mean, if she's got a family. I don't know. Maybe we'll ask you questions like that. We're going to see where it's going to go, but let's bring her up. Natalie Lavelock, right?
That's right.
I said it right the first time. I got one right today. I get a reward. I get to go give a coffee this afternoon now.
I feel like I just got brought into the choose your own adventure story.
Yeah, welcome to your adventure where you are the star, all right, and we're going to push you around now. Hey, Natalie, welcome to the show, all right. This is just my way of actually getting to know people and find out about them. First of all, I mean, I know you do something online, but I really don't know what you do. Mm-hmm. Tell me.
Awesome. So, I'm going to say part of my service has to do with online, but I'm actually kind of new to the online space too. Mm-hmm. So, I work with coaches and speakers, which means I've built my business speaking. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The products that I deliver, one of those are usually delivered online. But growing the business has been speaking. So I'm in the same boat as everybody else. So a little bit about, you want to hear my background story?
I'd love to hear your background. I mean, by all means. So tell me the background. I wanted the nitty gritty and the dirty too. Yeah.
Woo! All right. So I am a registered nurse by trade. I have a master's degree in nursing education. And for over 15 years working in corporate healthcare, it was my job to train the doctors and nurses at the bedside, to make sure that their skills were up to date, to make sure they had the latest technology, the latest information, to be able to save lives at the bedside. And so I did that at the pinnacle of my career. This is where the music dun 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 plays.
I don't have music effects, but hey, you can put them in.
You just get me then.
That's not in the budget yet. Yeah, we're working on it.
So at the pinnacle of my career, we had complete administrative turnover in the organization. As anybody who's worked in corporate knows, when that happens, many times the next thing that happens is corporate restructuring. So one day my boss came to me. She says, Natalie, I've been dreading having this conversation with you, but I hope you'll hear me out and I hope you'll accept my offer. I'm like, what kind of an opener is that? I hope you'll hear me out and I hope you accept my offer. So
that sounds to me, if a boss told me that, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm looking for a job tomorrow. That's my first thought.
Yes. So she said, Natalie, the new administration has decided to eliminate your position as the clinical nurse educator. Fabulous. Okay. But they would like to offer you a job in management. And so on one hand, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is the next rung on the ladder. It's a step up. It's a promotion. It's more money. It's a new title. It's, I'm moving into like the C-suite. This is amazing. But on the other hand, having worked for that organization for 15 years, I knew what it meant to be a manager in that organization. I knew that meant not only were you going to work 40 hours a week, but you were going to be on call nights, weekends, holidays. Mm-hmm. And it meant less time with my family, less of the things that really meant the most to me in my life. And so ultimately, that was over Labor Day weekend. And I truly felt like I was in labor that weekend trying to make a decision. Like, what do I do? What do I do? Because here's the thing. Here's the thoughts that were going through my head in that process. Who do you think you are to start a business? Mm. What kind of woman, what kind of mother would turn down a steady paycheck, retirement, health insurance, everything that is secure, everything that you've been, or at least that I was taught from a young child, leads to the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about turning that down. And so the next question was, what kind of mother does that? Your children are going to be hungry and they're going to be homeless because you're not going to be able to make your house payment. You're going to lose your farm, and you know how much your husband loves that farm. Do you really think that your marriage is strong enough to handle that?
That's a tough question to really ask yourself, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, how strong was your marriage at that point?
Oh, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong.
I'm curious though, when you have a strong marriage like that though, Natalie, do you still, I mean, is there still doubts? I mean, I feel I have a strong marriage, but I still wake up with doubts every day.
There are some doubts, but here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
My family, my parents, they were all coming around me saying, Natalie, you have to do what God's calling you to do.
That's right. That's right.
You have to take that step of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've learned. So I went back and I turned down the position, started my new business where I'm now working with coaches and speakers and helping them create their educational products, their training programs, their online courses, their advanced training programs. And God has been there every step of the way, providing for us, mm-hmm. pushing me in the right direction, opening up doors. And so what felt like in that moment was almost a place of destruction. It was actually the launch pad for something even greater.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and I'm always, when I hear people say that, Natalie, all right, and tell me if this is, I'm sure we'll get into it, but the idea when we sit there and we make the decision that we're going to go, and this is going to be something great, almost everybody wants it to be a constant uphill grade. They're not ready for the crash to go uphill. You know what I mean? And I was ready for it. I mean, this is like my 10th business, so I know what happens. I know the process, mm-hmm. but talk to me about your first one. All right. Did you go into it thinking every day is going to be great?
Oh, goodness. Let me tell you, my first stab at business, I thought it was going to be great. I was trained as a board certified Christian life coach. And I was like, yes, I'm going to go save women. And the women were like, that's what we have Jesus for. We don't need you. And so ultimately my first business failed. And so I had to go back to the drawing board and go, okay, how do I merge these two? Like, here's my passion. Here's my skill set. My skill set is designing educational programs, training programs, things like that. How do I merge these two? And that's really where my company that I've now had for 6 years has taken off from, is that place. But here's the other thing, Tim. When you take that leap of faith, there have been many times that we have been on the brink where it's like, I don't know how I'm going to pay that bill tomorrow. And I can tell you one example specifically. I don't know how I'm going to make this payment tomorrow. Phone rings, Mrs. Lavelock. I'm just calling to let you know that we made a mistake on your taxes from 2 years ago, and you're going to be receiving a check for $5,000. Now, if that were an isolated event, okay, random circumstance. That has happened multiple times.
Wow. Where
things have just been supernaturally provided in the process of me building the business. And it's not about the money that shows up. It's about that level of trust and deepening that level of trust that I am on the right path, that this is where I'm supposed to be in my life, and my willingness to say yes and take those steps forward and do what I'm being called to do.
So, I mean, but I know you're a woman of faith. All right. I know you believe in God. You're a Christian by your voice. How many times do people look at you as a Christian and expect you to be perfect? I always love that. You know what I mean? Well, what would Jesus do? Well, he came to save me because I ain't perfect, dude.
Exactly. I am one of those people. And I know this is very cliche, but I'm one of those people. I'm like, I go to church because it's a hospital for the sinner, not because it's a home for the saint, right? Like I jack things up all the time, and I need to go be with other people who have a bigger vision, a bigger mission, who understand the love of Jesus, and they're like, Natalie, get up and do it again better next time.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Natalie, I mean, it's, you know, I was in the Christian Motorcycles Association. I was in a local chapter here in Dallas for years when I had my motorcycle. And I remember going to the first biker rally in Austin, Texas. And everybody in the group's like, you got to be prepared. This is all this temptation stuff. And like, I get back from it and everybody's like, so, I mean, was it hard? I'm like, dude, they were sinners sinning. And they're like,
the easiest thing
I'm like, that's it. You know what I mean? Their sin wasn't enticing to me. Sin by itself isn't something that entices you. But your sin, Natalie, may not entice me.
Exactly.
My sin may not entice you. You know what I mean? We all have different ones, but it's interesting how many times people think that we're supposed to be perfect because we're Christians. And I think we have the most honest platform in the world of helping people to understand the world ain't perfect. And oh, by the way, after I fix this, I'm going to create 10 more problems by fixing this problem. We live in an imperfect world. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So let me ask you this then. In your journey on this, I mean, starting your company, you know what I mean, having the failure and having to retweak it. All right. How much education and re-education did you go through, or did you go, you know what, I'm going to tweak this, and as I find it, I'm going to seek the education I need?
Daily. like no joke. I'm planning a launch for May. Got a new program that's coming out in June. And so I'm figuring out, okay, what's the launch model? How am I going to get this out there when I can't just go stand on a stage somewhere? When I can't just go speak. So what am I going to do? How am I going to do that? So I'm pouring myself into learning different methods of launching. What's the support I'm going to need around that? Who's the team I need to bring in to help me facilitate this? It's a daily process. And as you begin that implementation, you've got to tweak and learn as you go there too, because it's never that straightforward path.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's always something. I mean, I thought I had the whole system down to getting booked to speak, traveling to speak, going to events, getting people to come to my event. I mean, I had this whole thing down in 2020. The first month and a half of 2020, I traveled from Dallas to Los Angeles 6 times to speak. And I was like, this is going to be the year. All right. And I remember my last flight out was March 6th, 2020. All right. I flew out to speak in Orange County, California. I land at LAX, and I'm just sitting at LAX waiting for my Uber to take me to my hotel. And I'm watching the stuff there going, well, the world's shutting down. They're shutting down California. And I'm calling my wife going, oh crap, I hope I can get out of California. And she says to me, oh, they'll never do that in Texas. That was the laugh of the year. Anyway.
Yep.
So my world changed. How did yours change through that?
You know, my world actually did really well until about September, October. Because I had done some of those speaking events. I was onboarding clients. I had a new program that I just launched and was filled. So I did really good till September, October. And then what do we know about marketing? The people coming into your business are the people you connected with 3 months ago.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, no connections.
Yeah. No connections for 6 months equals harder. I mean, I'm truthfully, I mean, I do a monthly event, and I'm going to tell you, in the first 6 months, it was easy to put people in. The last 6 months have been the hardest because making new connections all revolve around getting out there. I mean, that's why I started a podcast again, was to connect to people because I had no way to do it. You know what I mean? What tools are you doing now to connect to people realizing, crap, I got to reconnect?
Well, first and foremost, things like this. I'm speaking on podcasts. I'm doing summits. I'm doing giveaways. I'm doing all kinds of things. But one of the things that I found to be most valuable is my network. Those people that I've built relationships with, my colleagues, where we're all talking together and we're all planning things together and we're doing, I don't know that I want to go so far as to say joint venture things together, but we're all working together to increase the value of our own communities in ways that allow for cross promotion. So, and I think that's something that, while it may have happened beforehand, I think that this 2020 definitely elevated the importance of that and started actually bringing people closer together.
Well, connections and stuff. Let's talk about connections in 2020, all right? Because it's important for your business, for my business, connections. I found out that in 2020, when we were locked in our houses more, for me, I still got up every morning and went and got my coffee at Starbucks, wore my mask to go in. I found I was starting conversations with people in the parking lot at Starbucks that I never would have done before. Seriously, it's something how when we're restricted that we can't do, how we try to find, okay, I've got to find that now. How are you finding that in your business? Did you go, oh my God, I can do this. I didn't know I could do that. 2020 do that for you or no?
Well, let me preface this with saying I have 3 boys aged 7 to 13 in my house right now. So conversation and people to interact with really is not an issue there. It is WrestleMania 24/7. That's all I can say. But yeah, I don't know so much. Okay, so here's the backstory. I live in a very rural area, so we put on our masks and we pretty much continued to live life as normal.
Yeah.
Not casting aside what was going on in more highly populated things. I'm just sharing this was my experience. We put on masks. Our churches shut down for a little while, but most of them went to online services. So we still were doing that kind of thing. But as far as daily interaction, I don't feel like a whole lot changed in my world.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that changed was, people outside of my little county. I just wasn't able to go and meet with those people in person. And really, we started connecting via Zoom. We found other ways to connect so that we could stay in touch, even though we couldn't be in each other's event environments anymore at that time.
Yeah. The first thing that I started doing was, remember, because I was just bored. I'm like, I'm going to do a happy hour. So one of my blogs, I'm a blog guy. One of my blogs and things is called Bartender Life Coach. And I'm like, I know, I'm just going to do a happy hour. Grab a drink and let's chat, right? And I didn't do it with a purpose. I know a lot of other people started doing it with a purpose behind it, all right? They were trying to do it, all right? And you can tell from the moment they opened their mouth on these things that they were trying to sell you onto coming to do business with them. I wasn't. I was just, let's hang out. What's up? How you doing today, Natalie? You know what I mean? And we talk, and that's it. And I thought I was going to be criticized, right? Larry Broughton jumps on. Larry Broughton from Broughton Hotels, all right? Ernst Young, 2007 Ernst Young Entrepreneur of the Year. He's a faithful listener of the show. And I'm like, he jumps on. He goes, Tim, you're doing a good thing. Oh, I am? You know what I mean? I thought I was just killing time, but thanks for the compliment. How often are you going down that road? All right. I'm going to put you in my shoes where I was. All right. You're going down the road going, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Let me just do something. And it's when someone like a Larry Broughton comes into your life that you go, oh, I guess I'm on the right track.
Yes.
So.
Yep. I will say, another aspect of this, I know we're talking about staying connected. One of the things that I noticed in hindsight that I did that the last 3 or 4 months of the year where I didn't have such a heavy workload, such a heavy caseload of clients that I was working with, I really dug into me.
Yeah.
And who I am, who I'm becoming. Do I feel like my family connections, my heavenly connections, all of that, am I on the right course there? Because there's a difference between being good at making money and being good at building a successful life. And so that opportunity really gave me a time to take us back, to really pull back a little bit and look at, okay, what is the trajectory that I'm on? When we come out of this pandemic, my background as a nurse, I firmly believe this was not something that was going to be around forever. And so I had that mindset, when we come out of this pandemic, who do I want to be and how do I want to be showing up? And it gave me the time and space to really discover some new things about who I am and where I wanted to go. So, we're building that outward community, but we're also re-examining that inward community as well.
Cool. In self-growth, I found it, Larry, who I mentioned, Larry went through a phase of his life that he just went, okay, I got to dig into self-growth, and he scheduled it into his schedule. I got to say, personally, when I was homeless is when I actually went, okay, I'm digging in big time. And, I had, in 1 week's time, I lost the job I had, which included the car I had. The apartment that I lived in caught fire. My girlfriend dumped me, all right, and I had $79 in my bank account. And I'm like, and literally, if any job I got, they were taking 50% of my money to pay my back child support. It's like the world came crashing down, and I said, okay, that's it. I'm not plugging into something unless it's about me growing. So, I lived in my car, figured it out, all right, all kinds of stuff. And that self-growth time became something about me going to another level. And I didn't see it, all right? At the time, when you're in it, you don't see it. But years later, people come back and go, you've been in 6 years, you've been in business now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
4 or 5 years later, people coming back going, well, you're standing head and shoulders above the rest. Why? That is exactly why. Do you agree with me on that?
I totally agree with you. Yeah. And I think that has to do with success at every level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Being good at making money, I think I would enjoy being that. I am good at giving others an inclination of feeling better about themselves. The true things about being in business, and tell me if you agree with this on Natalie, is, it's not about making money. It's about helping people. If you can do something that helps people, all right, you can be successful at almost anything in life. Mm-hmm. Agree?
I agree entirely. There's going to be a rub when I say this.
Yeah.
Being great at making money is fantastic. Who are you when you're not making money?
Oh, I love that. That's a quotable right there.
Yeah.
Who are you when you're not making money? Wow.
Because the truth is, whatever that is, that's going to expand when you do make money. If you're someone who's generous with your time when you don't have money, then you're going to be generous when you do have money, right? It's about our character development. It's about our values, and money is just going to expand whoever we already are on the inside.
So true on that. I'm working on a series with one of my mastermind members right now on a Biz Coach Reacts series he's doing. We're doing like the Undercover Billionaire show, and watching it. And the person that we're doing right now out of the three of them is the person we both don't like, because he's someone about rich. I hate to say it, he, all right, gives it away which one it is. Rich, money. He's not about making money. He's about making sure he doesn't have to worry about how his family gets fed. That's really what he's about. But he says the word money so much, and people, I think, get caught up in that money. All right. When I always have been caught up in that. How do you help people? I've never been great with the word, and I've seen it in networking of how can I serve you? No, it's how can I help you? All right. And I don't know how you feel about, words like that and getting out there to connect with people.
Yeah. I'll be perfectly honest. I try to listen and learn who I'm talking to and use the word that identifies most with them. My clients, one of the first things that I do for my clients when they come on board is I actually have them go through the love language assessment. And I like to learn about their learning styles because I want to be able to speak their language. I want to be able to resonate with them and help them move forward in the way that they understand.
Cool. So, you know what I mean? And so your journey, 6 years, how long, first of all, how long have you and your husband been together?
Woo, we are, let's see, this is 2021, 18 years.
18 years. Okay. And how old are your boys?
We have a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
Yeah. Your life is great right now. Yeah. We have a 27-year-old, a 31-year-old, and a 33-year-old. So, hey, let me tell you, life gets better after they move out and actually start doing things on their own. Well, I mean, it's
we were doing fantastic till those teenager hormones kicked in, and now I'm like, what is this? And sometimes, as the mom, you want to be the fix it and the guide and the shepherd and say, honey, don't say that, don't talk like that. And now I'm just like, that's the hormones. I'll check in with him in 10 minutes. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you live in a house with all boys then, no girls other than you. You and my mom have something in common. Did you have brothers or sisters growing up?
I had one sister.
Okay.
My husband had two brothers. And I will tell you, I'm trying desperately to compensate. We bought a female puppy about a year ago. It's not quite pulling out, but I tried.
Okay, so all right, wait a minute. In your marketing, do you have? I mean, there's a whole other thing. In your marketing, do you have your pets in your marketing?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Millie is in my PowerPoint presentation. She's in one of my get to know me emails. I don't do a whole lot, but in some of the get to know me pieces, I do have her pulled in there. She's just adorable.
So, I mean, yeah, we had a cat that was my stepson's cat when we moved to this condo complex where we live now, and he couldn't have a cat where he was at, so we brought it here, and he was my cat, and we just had to put him down on the end of February because he just was so sick he couldn't make it anymore. But I know my wife has always said, she said to me many times, I don't know if I could live without a cat. So immediately I started looking around because the house felt empty. But like all of my marketing stuff had, Tim lives in Dallas with his wife Gwen and his cat Safu. But now Safu's not with us. But I have a blog and like pages and everything with Safu, SafuTheCat.com and all that stuff. Well, now I don't have the cat. Well, I got two new cats. All right, they're kittens. They're brother sister. Whole different ball of wax. All right, I thought I had this cat thing down. I'm telling you, two young brother sister. No, it's never the same. It's always. But I'm going to figure out how to work them into my marketing because I teach blogging and I'm out at events and I speak and I tell people you can do a blog. And if you think you can't, here's a picture of my cat. My cat, he laying on the floor lazy. He's got 1,400 subscribers. If he can do it, you can do it.
Millie, get in here.
So I'm like, get your cat, you get your dog a subscriber page. I mean, and like my oldest stepson, Ruben, he got a corgi dog. I don't know if I mean, I don't know much about dogs, but I learned what a corgi is now. When Dharma's her name, and when Dharma was little, she was about this big, right? And she would fit on the console of my pickup truck. And like, I was like, well, it's like, I have pictures of her everywhere. It's like, there's nothing like a ride in Grandpa's truck or something like that. So that must have sucked. I missed Commander Abby. She was called by, okay. Yeah, it's just, yeah, pets, but putting your pets into your marketing, most people never thought about that. That just like attracts people. And, you know what I mean? And you said, you know what I mean? You have all boys. My mom had four brothers, because one of them passed away. Four brothers, and then she marries my dad and has four boys. Her first grandchild, though, was a granddaughter. And let me tell you, that granddaughter got spoiled. It was my daughter. That granddaughter got spoiled, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. I'm still waiting for the grandkids. I'm in the mode now. I want grandkids. So, yeah, and I don't see it happening. So the one son that was in a serious relationship, they just broke up. And I'm like, another one. Well, anyway. So let's talk about, you know what I mean, some things that you are doing right now in this pandemic. What are you doing? Online things or podcasts? Are you doing your own summits or webinars? What is it that you're doing?
Yeah, I've actually been working with a lot of my colleagues. I haven't been doing a lot of my own things at this point in time. But like I said, the launch that I'm getting ready to come up and do, that's going to be the first really big thing that I've broke out and done on my own. I've done some workshops. I've done some little one-day trainings, some things like that, but nothing that's really on a larger scale. So that's really my biggest focus right now is that.
Okay. And you know what I mean, with that focus, I mean, in helping your clients, and your clients are speakers, I assume, right?
Speakers
All
and
right.
coaches, yes.
All right. So are you encouraging your clients to do their own events right now?
I'm encouraging them to do the same things that I'm doing, everything we've talked about, plus doing their own workshops. So, getting out there within their own community and helping build those workshops so that they can build that know, like, and trust factor within their own community, and continue growing their businesses as well.
Okay. Interesting. And then do you have a network of other networks of speakers that you're plugged into, or are you just, locally and nationally, I should say?
No, I've plugged into different networks across the US. So that really is a benefit.
Okay, cool. I'm sitting here and putting my questions together as we go, because I told you we said we're gonna have a fun conversation, but anyway.
I know, I can tell you're headed somewhere. I'm like, we're going somewhere.
We're going somewhere. Trust me. Yep. Where, I have no clue, but we're going. I always do like to ask this, because I go back in my history, all right, of having networks, all right, connecting to the right people over our lives. It seems like some of us, I'm spiritual, I'm a Christian like you. I feel that God has put the people in my life I needed when I needed them. And I've had some good bosses, some bad bosses, some good mentors, some bad mentors along the way. But something a mentor and a boss said to me when I was 21 years of age has stuck with me my entire life. And it is a driving factor of my life and my businesses now. All right. And he said to me, it was a part-time job. And he said to me, I'm running a gas station, part-time job running a gas station. And he said, Tim, I want you to run your shift like you own this company. If it costs you, if you have to put a dime out of that register, pretend it's coming out of your pocket. If a dime's going into it, I want you to pretend it's coming into your pocket, and run this like it's your business. And I have run and taken ownership of everything in my life because of that. Did you, Natalie, have someone when you were younger give you like a piece of advice that maybe is minor as that, or is major, that has driven you?
Yep. That was my mom. She is like, if you can imagine the picture perfect image of what a mom could be and is, that was my mom. And the one thing she always encouraged me was go the extra mile. Go that extra mile, do that little bit extra.
Yeah.
And that has served me my entire life.
Do you know actor Glenn Morshower?
I don't.
He lives here in Dallas. He has a home here in Dallas. All right. And I know him. I met him through my mentor, Craig Duswall, is how I met him. And I'm good and connected to him. But he does this whole thing. He's spoken on my stage in like 2013 or 14. He spoke on one of my events, and he does a thing called the extra mile.
Really?
An actor does this, and he talks about the extra mile. All right. And he talks about how he did things in his life. And if you see his face, you will know him. You're like, I know that guy. Because you've seen him in every freaking movie that he's in, right? He's just, he did one of those episodes with Jimmy Kimmel where, you all know who this guy is, right? And he was one of those actors. But that extra mile thing has been driven to me. I am attracted to Glenn Morshower, not because he's been in Transformers and all these movies, but because every time I see him, he's going the extra mile in his life, not his acting career, in his life. And who he is when the cameras aren't on is who I'm attracted to. And you know what? It's the same person who puts that same passion into when the cameras are on.
Yes.
And it's funny. Some of us will not take that bit of advice that you got from your mom and realize that's a life thing. Not just when the camera's rolling, but when you put your feet in the floor in the morning, that's when you start going the extra mile. I love it. I love it. So let's see what Robert here says. Let me share with you, Tim and Natalie, where we are going today. We are heading towards how to become an engagement amplifier. Interesting. Yeah. I love it. No, I love these people who actually tune in or chime in and give us their information, tell us. And he had more. Preparation is something that did allow me to become one of those people that was known for saying that one thing that another needed to hear. And that does tend to stop a conversation in its tracks. Those are memorable moments for the person who did it for. Have you, Natalie, said something that people are going now, because of Natalie, I'm this today?
They have not come back to me and said that, but I can tell you probably 60 to 70% of the conversations that I have, you see it. You see it in their eyes. You see it on their face. You see it in the way they carry themselves. That was a life-changing moment. They're going to be changed. The trajectory of what they're doing is going to be changed because of this moment. Yeah. Some people are gracious enough and they'll come back and they'll say, oh my goodness, you changed my life and this is how, at some point. Other people take it and they're like, I had this big breakthrough and I'm doing this amazing thing, and they don't realize. And I think we all play in both of those roles at some point in our lives. But all I need to fuel me is to see that spark.
Yeah. And I mean, and as a speaker, all right, I mean, me as a speaker, I'm a speaker. Well, you're on stage and you see the eyes, you watch for the eyes that pop. And you see that eye pop. I mean, tell me, what does that do inside of you? It makes my heart go, he got it. He got it.
Yeah. That's exactly it. And that comes not just as the speaker, but also as a teacher. When you're a teacher at heart, you see that spark and you know that something just clicked that wasn't making sense before. There's a greater depth of understanding that happens in those moments.
No, I mean, I was involved for a period of time in the early 2000s with back when I had my car wash business, with a life enrichment seminar, all right, here in the Dallas area. And we used to watch, all right, I was one of the facilitators, so I was one of the people working, and we used to watch the attendees and watch the pops. That became a drug to me. And that's probably why I eventually got into this. That became a drug to me. I wanted to see the pops.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, you're exactly right. And I think that's one of the reasons that I love this industry so much, is because people are not satisfied with the status quo. Yeah. They're not satisfied with, this is the protocol to follow. Oh, I'm just going to go clock in and clock out at work, and I'm just going to, whatever. I am not knocking people who want to do that. They are the foundation of what keeps this country running. I'm purely saying my energy feeds on the energy of people who are movement makers, who want to see change, who are taking that extra step, who want to go that extra mile, and who really want to make a bigger difference on a global perspective. Actually, quite frankly, an eternal perspective.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the people the person who got me into this was Zig Ziglar, because I knew him personally, and it was a great thing for him. He actually told me to become a speaker, and I didn't believe him. I'm like, that's not me, Zig. I couldn't see that, but he's seen something in it to make me go that. And some of the greatest things that I've learned from him, not from seeing Zig on stage like everybody else does, but for me, it was some of the personal things, like, I knew about him. And, the day the doctor actually said to him, this is it, your time's come, in the next couple months, you're going to be passing. And he was like all joyful. And most people are like, oh man, my time's up. I mean, it was in his years were done. And he goes, no, I finally get to graduate. I don't think any of us look at that in life. This is school. Someday we get to graduate,
God has his own no child left behind policy.
Yeah. I like that one. That's another quotable. So. Well, Natalie, it's been fun having you on the show and getting to know a little bit about you. All right. One of the things I like to ask, before I give the closing out, is if you were to give the people who are listening a word of advice, what would it be?
Yeah, this is a good one. And it comes back, and it comes from the work that I did at the bedside. For so many years, the work that I did at the bedside was literal life-saving work. And this is what I've come to believe. I've come to believe that your life matters. that the programs, the services, the products that you create, they're a lifeline to people in need.
Yeah.
And I genuinely believe that now is your time to step up, to step out in faith, and to be that light to people who need you the most.
Wow. That's impactful. So, well, Natalie, how can people get a hold of you, and what's the best place they can find you online?
The best place to find me online is on Facebook. You can go to Natalie Lavelock Consulting. You can also reach me at my website, which is natalielavelock.com.
Cool. I love it. It's your name, right? You know?
Simple.
Yeah. Well, that's ours. Simple, easy. You know what I mean? That's why we want simple, easy marketing. Anyway, it's make it simple, make it easy, and people can find you simple and easy. So, well, Natalie, I thank you for being on the show today. I do want to close up, but I have a little game I like to play with my people called This or That. And I have directed 9 this or that questions for you. Are you ready to play?
Let's do it.
All right. I start off everyone with a neutral question, and that is I ask Star Wars or Star Trek.
Oh, Star Wars.
Oh, she is a science geek. You got to wonder sometimes if the girls coming on are like, they're going to go, what? Who? Sometimes you go, yeah. Star Wars, huh? All right. So, like, you the early version, or did you get into it on the episode 1, 2, 3?
Oh, I've got the whole series.
No. Cool.
The whole series.
Cool. All right. So my next one here is going to be a little more while we actually are going to stick with movies or TV shows. We're going to talk about the character of Superman. Who played it better, Christopher Reeve or Dean Cain?
Dean Cain.
You know, I've been on Dean Cain's podcast, and he listens to this every now and then.
Yes.
Yeah. So, no, seriously, I was on Dean's podcast, and those people who get into my coaching program get a welcome video from Dean Cain.
Oh, that is awesome. My family, we actually, one of the things we subscribe to is called PureFlix.
Yeah.
And so he's done a lot of videos in there as well. So, yeah.
Dean's a really great guy. You know what I mean? I got to meet him through Craig Dustwald as well. And yeah, I've escorted him backstage at events. Like I was security at events and escorting him. And one event that he was doing a question and answer on the stage. So I went over to the microphone to ask him. And it was, because he worked with Terry Hatcher. And it's like 800 people in the room. So I said, Dean, I got a question for you. You worked with Terry Hatcher on, on the Superman show. Terry Hatcher was in another TV show that every man in America who watched that TV show wants to know the answer to that question. And they're like, what? And I said, Terry was on Seinfeld. And the driving question on Seinfeld for the men was, are they real? And Dean just goes, there's only one way to answer that question. They are, and they are spectacular. So I'm backstage after that, escorting him back, and he goes, dude, that's the greatest question I've ever been asked. Dean's a great guy. I love him. All right. And one of these days, I'm going to have him on this podcast. I've been on his. He's going to be on mine someday. So anyway, next question I have. All right. And I know you people up there in the heart of the country might have these a little more often. A water balloon fight or a squirt gun fight?
Oh, water balloon.
Water balloons. Yeah. Cool. All right. It's you got to have water balloons every now and then. I usually say water balloon or snowballs, but today I want to see squirt guns. I want to see people who actually have squirt gun fights. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the squirt guns, but they don't do near as much damage.
I know. The Super Soakers. Remember when the Super Soakers came out? Yeah. We used to have this picnic with like 40 people in the park with Super Soakers.
It was awesome, wasn't it?
It was. So.
Best day ever.
All right, I'm going to move into food products and go taco or hamburger?
Taco, all the way.
Taco. Who makes your favorite taco?
Oh, we have a local Mexican restaurant here in town.
Yeah. It's always the local guy. My greatest taco was the guy who served it out of the trunk at the car wash. That was my greatest taco. Just saying, yeah.
Yep.
How about coffee or tea?
Oh, I'm a tea girl.
Iced tea or hot?
Hot.
Yeah, I just finished my iced green tea here. So how about this one here? You're a girl, so we got to ask. I know you live in the Midwest, so heels or boots?
You know what? I'm going to choose heels.
Okay. Yeah.
I like to dress it up. I like to go in style.
Okay.
Now, as my husband's backup emergency farmhand, I got the boots.
Yeah.
But I like the heels.
Yeah. I've got 14 pairs of cowboy boots and 2 pairs of work boots and 1 pair of sneakers and flip-flops. And I wear the flip-flops more than anything.
Yes. Freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. How about in this COVID time? All right, are you a dress-up girl, or are you wearing yoga pants? Or are you dressed up from the top up and yoga pants from the waist down?
You got me. Dressed up from the top up and totally the yoga pants on the bottom.
I know. My first speaking gig in the virtual world was suit, shirt, pajama bottoms. Yep. So you get it. So let's go to my last 2, the controversial ones that we ask everybody. Number 8 question is toilet paper. Does it go over on the roll at your house or under?
Over.
Over?
Over, always.
You know, that question is the most interesting one, Natalie, because I ask that question and the answers I get by some of the most calmest, peaceful, loving people. And I ask that question and with fangs out, it's over. And this person the whole time was like, oh, I just love when it comes to that question. I love it.
Well, your type A overachievers are going to want it on top. Your optimists are going to want it on top. So.
Yeah. And then there's the fact checkers who go, the patent says.
And then there's those that are like, why does it have to be on the thing at all?
I know, that's my personal bathroom, all right? Now, I'm about the only person, unless we have guests, like the kids come over, my personal office bathroom, it's the only house in the entire place that we didn't remodel because it was going to be the office bathroom. Who cared, right? The toilet paper sits on the back of the toilet. Now, last weekend, we had guests over, and one of the guests came up and put the toilet paper on the roll for me. I'm not going to say which... Huh?
You pass the test, you get to come back.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so my last one, and yes, I even asked this one to the girls, and it could be your preference or it could be what you do. I don't know. I'm not judging. But boxers or briefs?
Ooh, good one. I'm going to say whatever makes you comfortable.
So I've had the answers for this one have been the most unique, all right, of all the things I have, all right? You know what I mean? I've had, neither. And then I've had the girls go, well, by the time I get them there, I want them off, so it doesn't matter. And then I've gotten is my husband listening? It's like these questions are just so much to make interesting, but anyway.
Yeah, well, let's face it. If you're comfortable, you're confident.
Yeah, very true. So, all right, it's whatever you want to wear, and that's what, truthfully, it has to be. So, one more time, I want you to make sure you say the website for people who are, those are on the audio as well as the video, so they can get a hold of you.
Absolutely. It is www.natalielavelock.com.
Cool. Well, Natalie, I appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your story, sharing some great fun times. I hope we get to do this again. This has just been fun.
It has been fun, Tim. Thank you so much. This is probably one of the best podcasts that I've been a guest on. So thank you.
Cool. Well, to you, the listener, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. All right. This is something we do on a regular basis. We get to know the coolest people on the planet, just like Natalie. Do me a favor. Go check out Natalie's website, NatalieLavelock.com. All right. She's got a free gift on there that you can download and check out to see how she can maybe help you. In the meantime, I'm Tim Gillette, your host. Be sure and subscribe to both our YouTube channel as well as where you get your podcast of The Tim Gillette Show. I'm Tim Gillette, and I'll be back with another guest real soon. Talk to you later, guys.